Well, now, are you implying that that bottle came from my stock?
Well, sir, I don't think I could rule that out.
You also implying that maybe I had something to do with it?
Yes, sir. I think that's a real possibility.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, Lieutenant. Why don't you take your corks and get the hell out of here?
Ooh.
Your best to mine. Make love to me, baby, one more time. Closer, closer into my heart. Make love to me, baby. Closer, closer, your lips to mine.
Hello, Columbo fans. Welcome again to the 5th and final episode of Season 8 of the Columbo Confab Podcast. This is Sean.
And this is Steve, who I'm your Sheriff Denise to your Peter Falk. Only in the podcast world.
Oh my God, I needed that. Okay, so
I did not know, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we are reviewing Columbo and the Murder of a Rock Star. Yeah, but yeah, I did not know Sheriff Denise was going to be in this one too.
Okay,
so she like in every other episode of the 90s. What's going on here?
I don't know, but I really am getting tired of Sheriff Denise. And let me see one thing really quick.
I was really hoping she was going to be the rock star at the beginning.
Okay, well, I've got good news for you, Steve.
Yes.
Well, 2 bits of good news.
Mm-hmm.
She will not be in any more 90s Columbo episodes that we watch. We have covered all of Sheriff Denise in the 90s.
Do we know how many? We know how many episodes that is.
I wish you would have asked me this yesterday. I don't remember. I don't know. I bet you it's like 6 or 7. I mean, there are some, right, like you said, I forgot she was in. But you know what? She plays dual roles in this. Did you know this? She is actually she plays, of course, the associate attorney, and fun fact, she is the person who sings the song, the rock song, "Closer, Closer into My Life."
Oh, the same one that Peter Falk's nephew is so in love with. Oh my God, no, she sang it, really? I mean, it's not a bad song, but.
It's not a bad song. In fact, it's really damn catchy. Like, I could actually see that song being popular in real life.
I mean...
Yeah.
What do they call that? I mean, it's not nepotism. What do they call it? What, is it technically? Because he was married to her, so is it technically?
I think that's technically nepotism.
I don't know. I know other people have certain thoughts about that in the business world and stuff, but I hate it. I really hate when I see somebody get ahead in life because they know somebody, and this reeks of it. And I guess that's what bothers me the most about her.
Well, you know what the thing is, you're right, because I really don't think, I mean, she's a better actress than a lot of people, but you know what, we have to realize that she made Peter Falk very happy, and he made her very happy.
That's what's important.
So she's better than Yoko Ono.
But Peter Falk had 2 daughters. They didn't get along with her.
No, they did not.
So,
no. Well, at least she can sing. All right. So in this episode, we have Dabney Coleman, who plays an attorney, very famous defense attorney, Hugh Creighton, lawyers again.
Yeah. We also have guest star of aforementioned Sheriff Denise and Little Richard.
Oh my God! Okay, we'll get to him in a second. Because and
Little Richard's not playing a character; he's playing himself.
Oh, Jesus Christ! They should have said, "Little Richard, Rich, can you just wait to be on Columbo? Just wait a year, because we're going to have this episode with a poker scene, and we have this really annoying blonde guy that we want you to replace him. Do you like playing poker?" Oh, okay. So
he'd be like, "Wow, Tutti Frutti on Rudy!" Yeah. And by the way, he sings a very catchy song too. I've never heard of it before, but
you've never heard that Tutti Frutti?
No, the one that he sang. I wrote in my notes the lyrics, but when we get there, I'll bring it up. But I've never heard the song that he sings in this before.
Okay. So Dabney Coleman. By the way, this is the third and final attorney episode we have to cover on the Columbo Confab podcast. He is a defense attorney. He hires a private investigator who is the ultimate perfect private investigator, and by perfect I mean the guy's got everything but a bottle of scotch on his desk.
Oh yeah, very film noir. I mean, it's got the hat, the pleated shoes, the tie, the suspenders. I mean, it's just.
So the private investigator has installed a camera in the vent of their beach house, and Dabney Coleman, or I'm sorry, Hugh Creighton gets to see his I don't know what you would call it, his common law wife, I guess.
That's what it's being sold as, yeah.
Marcy Edwards has been pop star, having sex with her lover every, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday?
Friday, yeah, that's a lot. Hey, who do you think Marcy was based off of as a musician from that time frame?
Ooh, that's a good question. Do you have a theory?
I do, because I don't know, because she did have a little mole above her upper lip. I don't know if that was her actual mole or if that was makeup, but it reminded me of Madonna.
That is a good observation, but the I don't think the music is very Madonna. I mean, Madonna's kind of weird, but she's not. I was going to say somebody
both
like
freaks in the bed. Come on.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe 1991 Madonna, but I was thinking more like Tiffany.
Well, Tiffany was young, wasn't she? She was a teenager then.
I have no idea. Well, wait. This came out in 1991. Tiffany was popular when I was in grade school.
She was.
And I
late
was
80s.
Yeah, I was in high school when this came. I don't know.
Oh, I know. She was based off of Little Richard. I wonder if Little Richard was also screwing the drummer too. There's infidelity at the very beginning, and Marcy Edwards is sleeping with one of the drummers. I guess she performed with. I guess she still is performing with, just in a different venue.
Yeah.
But this is being recorded, and a tape is presented to Hugh Creighton, and he's done with her. He's obviously they've been together for 4 years, and he's I guess he's tired of paying for her bills, her expensive cars, jewelry, booze. Funny enough, though, if she had unlimited amounts of wealth, why was she buying the cheap champagne?
Well, okay, so I don't know. Well, wait a minute. I have a theory about that. Okay, so this cheap champagne was in the beach house.
Right.
The expensive champagne was in his office.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that maybe he kept the expensive stuff to himself and only brought it on special occasions, like if he won a trial. But her taste was good enough that she could drink the cheap stuff. It looked like.
I'm sure it still expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my personal theory.
Well, yeah, we found out later that the expensive champagne was $175 a bottle.
Yeah,
and that's in 1990 money. What do you think that is today?
I don't know.
Like 300? What do you think? Almost double?
I bet you it is. Yeah, that is. Man, I wonder what a $300 glass of champagne or a bottle of champagne tastes like.
Yeah.
I like champagne. I don't like cheap champagne. It tastes like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Interesting.
Anyway, we can dream.
Well, unfortunately for Daphne, is it Dabney? I always want to call him Daphne, and you always get on me about it. It's Dabney.
It's Dabney.
Dabney. When Hugh Creighton we find out that he's actually short on cash. He's kind of financially hurting because he's having a building built.
Right.
And we discover that he's on the construction site, and I guess the foreman is telling him, we're over budget by I forgot how much. A lot of money.
It was $365,000, which if you're building a building that big, I wouldn't think that over budget by $365,000 would be
bad.
that big of a deal.
No.
Oh, by the way, I have fun facts about.
Oh, I love fun facts.
About Dabney.
I love fun facts just as much as you love clues. So let's hear it.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. So Dabney Coleman is from Austin, Texas, and he studied law at the University of Texas here in Austin. Although
Interesting.
I don't think that he graduated because obviously he went on to do other bigger things,
Right.
like harass women in the market in the office space place.
And I know I watched an episode not too long ago where he was in Columbo, but he was as a one of the officers that was assisting Columbo.
Yes.
I can't think of the name though.
It's Double Shock. It's from the 70s with Martin Landau. We haven't covered that one yet, but yeah, he's in that. That was before he was famous. I think 9 to 5 may have been his first big movie.
Yeah, he wore like cowboy boots or something like that. Like, he was a very southern boy, kind of.
Yeah. So anyway, she tells I almost
Hugh.
called him Dabney again. She tells Hugh that if he quote unquote divorces her, and by the way,
well, no, they can't get a divorce. That's the thing. That's his whole point. Is they're not married. So he even says to her, our money. It's not even our money. It's my money because we never got married. And then she threw out the common law thing.
Yeah. She threw out the common law thing. She explains to her very wealthy, expensive lawyer boyfriend that they are actually married at common law, and she actually explains the law quite well. A lot of people think that you had to be together for 9 years.
No,
I've heard that, and that's not true, at least not in Texas. The way she explains it is actually true in Texas. If you hold yourself out to be husband and wife, like they did, they called her Mrs. Creighton, that you are considered married. So... So she also says that, and they didn't really go into this very much. She also tells him that if he quote unquote divorces her, then she's going to spill the beans about how he pays off judges and witnesses and stuff. So
yeah,
he's
I figured that's the reason why he started plotting at this point, because she was going to blackmail him.
Right. And I learned some new things. I actually did some research here because the first thing he does the next morning while they're eating breakfast and he's sucking up to her, is he drugs her with something that we find later on is a drug that makes you not want to drink alcohol.
Right.
And I actually
looked
it up.
What was it called? I wrote it down. Yeah, go ahead.
It's, I think, disulfiram, but
that sounds right.
I looked it up on the internet and I found it. Yeah, and you can actually buy it through Amazon. So, but if I don't understand if you have a chemical dependency on alcohol, how it would work, or
I don't know.
if you're just replacing one drug with another. But if you got to wake up early in the morning and go to work and you really wouldn't need a drink, I could see how that can help. So. And
it felt like this episode had a lot of red herrings in the sense like the powder. At first, you think he's poisoning her with something, and it turns out it's not poison. He's just making it so that she won't, I guess, drink the champagne that will make you go to sleep, and it would also weaken her for any struggle, so she won't be up to fighting him off later. Right.
Yes. Maybe. That's a good point. Yes, we should mention that he uses a syringe. A syringe to drug a bottle of champagne from his office and puts it in the beach house where he knows she and her boyfriend drummer are going to go and fuck. So they get together as usual on Wednesday at the beach house, and they're having their sexy swim time. And then he pulls out the bottle of champagne, and I thought to myself, what if he just didn't pull out that bottle of champagne? What if first to just, isn't there maybe a 1 in 4 chance that he wouldn't reach for the one that's on the top and go for the one on the side? Just saying. I don't know.
That's a thought. I think it would have been more difficult to reach for something on the bottom. All the bottles would have,
Yeah.
toppled over, but yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Hugh had to hire a private investigator because obviously we found out later from the depositions of the neighbors, everybody knew she was screwing around with this guy.
that is a really good point. Yes. Yes. Well, no, well, you know what? Maybe he was just really busy. I mean, he's this really rich, famous lawyer. He obviously probably worked long hours. And who's going to tell him that his wife's having an affair? But I think he could have also hired a better, more professional private investigator. But
Yeah. What'd you think of the gardener?
oh, we'll get to him in a minute too.
Okay. I feel really sorry for him. Out of all the characters in this episode, I feel the most sympathy for the gardener, the Japanese gardener.
Yeah,
He just wants to do his damn job. That's all he wants.
Yeah, and you know what? There are other more unfortunate gardeners in Columbo.
Oh
There's
yes,
the one...
it explodes. Yeah.
I think I feel worse for that. I can't remember his name, Fernando or something.
Fernando, I think you're right.
Yeah. Oh, poor Fernando. We should start.
What episode was that for the listeners? What was that? That was
A Bird in the Hand.
Bird in the Hand, right?
So so they have their sexy times. Marcy and her I can't remember his name. Nettie.
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember his last name. And he drinks the drug champagne.
And eats caviar. Man, what a day! I would love to have just a lazy afternoon on the weekday, getting drunk, eating caviar, and having wild, crazy sex. That would be fun.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty much doing that today, except without the sex and without the caviar. So, and you know what? I'm at the age where the sex doesn't really matter. But you know what? I could really use some caviar right now. But you know what? I'm afraid to eat caviar because then I'm going to get thirsty and I'm going to go to the sink to get some water and someone's going to shoot me.
You, yeah. Good point.
That's $15 in your mouth right there. So he passes out immediately. Like no one passes out like this guy passes out. He's like, I feel like he's doing the blinking thing, and she's like, "Oh, you okay? Oh my! Well, that's too much champagne too soon." And then Hugh Creighton walks in.
Well, hold on, let's rewind. So,
okay,
Hugh is okay. He's already playing this all out. As a matter of fact, there's even something that we're not aware of that happens even much earlier in his plan. But he drives to the neighborhood. I guess he notices Gardner's schedule. He looks at his appointment book. Interesting. Can't speak English, but he writes in English. Whatever. So he sees that the gardener's going to be in a certain part of town. He follows the gardener and sees that he's going to be mowing for a home for a while. So he steals the gardener's truck. And then he's dressed, but you see he's dressed up as the gardener as well. And so he drives the truck to the beach house, and that's when after the drummer guy Ned or whatever his name is passes out. That's when he enters the room. He's in his gardener garb. If I was Marcy, I would have said something like, "Why are you dressed like the gardener?"
I was thinking that too. Yeah, I mean,
like, there's something weird here. My boyfriend is passed out, and but I tell you the best part, Sean, was when he walks around to the side of the bed. This is Hugh walks around to the side of the bed. Marcy and the drummer are on the bed, laying down, and she's looking at him, and she's noticing that he's looking at the drummer, and she goes, "Don't hurt him." And he looks up at her and smiles this evil grin as if, I'm not gonna hurt him. It's gonna be you I'm after. Oh, that was so creepy.
And then cut to him washing out the champagne glasses. And what's so awesome about it is that, of course, they don't show him strangling her, presumably because it would be too violent to show. Mm-hmm. Like they did back in 1968 with Prescription Murder. But yeah, he really, he fucking hated her. And I actually don't blame him. Don't get me wrong, he's a fucking asshole. But I think that she had it. She was not a very sympathetic victim.
I'm surprised there wasn't more of a struggle. I mean, I know he drugged her, but I would think that Hugh was not a big guy, so I don't know if he could have overpowered her without her fighting back. I think like there'd be a broken lamp or I don't know, pictures falling off the wall, something.
Because she would have gotten up to run away. Because he had to lean over the bed, over Nettie's body to get at her. I agree 100%. That was not an easy task, but he managed to do it. Huh. I also don't, I don't understand why he had to dress up as the gardener.
So he could, people, if they saw anybody coming and going, they would think it was the gardener, I guess. The neighbors.
But he's smart enough to know that the gardener only comes on Tuesdays and Fridays. So why didn't he wait until Friday to kill her when he knew, because they always meet on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays.
But he would, if he was going to use the cover of the gardener couldn't be in that part of town, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah. I understand that he didn't want to be seen going in there. So he had to, that just seemed a little bit, and of course that's what gets him in the end, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what he does, and they don't, after he kills her, he washes up the glasses and everything, he drives the gardener's truck back, but we find out later that he parks the truck 2 blocks away from where it was when he picked it up.
That poor gardener, he must have been panicking, poor guy.
Yeah, what the fuck happened to my car?
Barely making a living? God.
But why did he do that with the truck? Why didn't he park it where it was?
So I guess that he wouldn't, like, if he were to pop out, like, he wouldn't be able to find it immediately. Like, oh, where's my truck? Oh, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense either.
Huh. We should give Andy, the gardener, it's not Andy, it's Ando or something. We should give him a spin-off series. Dude, where's my truck?
Oh, boo.
That's dumb.
Boo.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
So, so they park where there's a lot of, they call them berries, but it sounds like nuts. I'm not real sure what the hell they are.
Yeah, I agree.
So it litters the car, and it gets into the windshield wiper well. Mm-hmm. And so I guess Hugh doesn't really take much notice of it. He wipes it off the top of his car. Some of those little nuts get trapped, which is probably the biggest clue in this episode, I think. That kind of
it is.
Seals the deal for his conviction. But anyway, so the drummer guy, Nedley, whatever, wakes up, and he's kind of, so, babe, Slate, wake up, and she's dead. And so I think he calls 911, right, and then leaves the scene.
No, he didn't call 911. He dialed 91, then changed his mind and hung up the phone.
Oh, I thought he did call.
No,
I was getting up to go get a drink at the time, so missed that. One digit.
It's the body is discovered the next day by the cleaning lady, who we need to talk
right. Who yes, we do need to talk about, because she's horrible. As a matter of fact, last weekend I sent you a YouTube video of that scene.
Yes, and you're probably mad at me because I didn't respond, but I enjoyed it. Okay, so can we talk about the scene with the cleaning lady? Because are we jumping ahead? Okay,
yeah, let's keep going with the story plot here. So Columbo is now on the scene. He comes in, he starts doing his own Columbo thing, and he comes in. He sees a guy with like what do you call those? Like hi-fi boom boxes.
Boom box.
So he's asking.
You are showing your age if you didn't know what a boom box was.
Why was a guy standing at a crime scene outside the crime with the music blaring? You think I'm kind of curious what's going on here. I think I'm going to turn off the music so I can see if I can hear or see something. No, this guy's just standing there, weird. But Columbo sees him immediately and starts asking, "Hey, how much did that cost?" Because apparently he's got to buy a gift for his nephew. Right.
And the guy tells him, "Oh, it's about I paid $2.99 at
list
at I wrote down the name of the store.
Doty's.
Doty's, yeah. Yeah, that was really annoying, that guy. What he needed was a good Vulcan nerve pinch to knock him out, so he didn't have to listen to his... Yeah.
Very clever.
So Columbo goes to the crime scene, and he explains that it's unusual that, that both bottles of champagne were opened in the kitchen because champagne, there's sex in the air, the pop and the spritz. And I mention this because I remember when this was on TV. I saw it for the first time when it first aired. And in the, I don't know what you would call it, the commercials or the coming attractions, they have Columbo saying, "Oh, there's sex in the air." Like, that's how they were going to pull in viewers. Sex.
Gross. And that was Sherry Denise's idea.
Peter, why don't you tell them to mention sex? Could you do that? But we're introduced at the crime scene to, personally, one of my favorite little sidekick detectives or sidekick sergeants. Oh, the coroner is there.
George.
Medical guy. We've seen him before. But there's an actress. Her name is Sandra Curry, and quite frankly, I think she's rather adorable. A little adorable redheaded sergeant, and so I
She's
have
very
to
attractive.
I have to mention her because a couple weeks ago, I was watching the Golden Girls, as you do when you're like 43 years old and gay, and there was an episode in which Blanche's father, who's obviously an old man, marries a much younger woman, and it was Sandra Curry who played this. Just want to say that's and it was bugging me. Like, I know her from somewhere.
She looks like she'd be a firecracker in bed. So.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking of that really. I just thought she was kind of cute. But
well, one of the when Columbo comes into the bedroom after talking to George, he I guess there's music playing, and he says, "Oh, this sounds like is this the artist that did that song? Hold me, whatever you just hold me, touch me, whatever." Thrill me. He says, "Oh, it's my nephew," and he starts going off. And he looks at the photos on the wall, or no, I'm sorry, the albums on the wall. It's like she's got a couple of gold albums, I guess, and he goes and he starts going off about his nephew. This is his favorite musician, and then he stops himself and says something like, "Why am I bothering with this? What?
Yeah,
I'm talking nonsense," and I thought that was funny. It's like, that's Columbo. He just starts rambling off random stuff.
I just realized that this is the second episode we've discussed that involves a murder at a beach house during an incestuous affair.
What was the other one?
Incestuous? No, not incestuous. That would be between relatives. An adulterous affair.
Delightful?
The dentist one.
Yes.
Easy Lies the Crown was another one. Yeah.
Yes.
So
that wasn't a beach house. That was a pool house, wasn't it? No, it was the beach house. That's right. Yeah. You're right.
I think it was a pool house. I think you're right. Well, pool house, beach house. What's the difference? We live in landlocked parts of Texas, so it's like, and we're poor. We're not like these people.
Yeah, we don't live in LA, so
yeah. What do we know?
So apparently, people who drink champagne, they drink it for the pop and the spritz.
Right.
And I guess that was his argument, that they would open two at the same time. But see, if it was me, I'd be like, a bottle for you and a bottle for me, and I would just drink out of it with a crazy straw.
Yeah.
See, Columbo underestimates the alcoholic person that could have been in this case, right? Could have been just...
Yeah, exactly.
He could have put both bottles in one of those caps, those plastic hard caps that have, has little container holders on the side of each hat with a straw that leads, like you see at sporting events.
So, he assumes, and I don't like this assumption, he assumes that it's normal to open the first bottle in the kitchen, but once you go back into the bedroom and have sex, you want to open the second bottle there. But all I can think about when he says that is that I'm not going to open a bottle of champagne in the bedroom because that's going to get the bed wet. And there are much, that's going to be, I'm sorry, I mean, the bed's probably going to be getting wet anyway, but not as much as champagne. And I don't know. I personally, Well, I've never had sex while drinking champagne, but I open all of my bottles in the kitchen, especially champagne, because that cork could go anyway. I don't want to get into this, but
So
I open all of my bottles of liquor and wine in the kitchen. Anyway, what were we going to say?
So we were introduced probably to the next major clue, the star on the inside of the cork. So we notice. Right, well, at least I did notice right off the bat that one cork had 1 star and another cork had 2. At this time, we don't know what the significance of the star is, but
I think it means that the bottle belonged to a 2-star general, just like the wine glasses and the fuck apartment with Frank Braley's fuck apartment.
So everybody has one of those in Colombo. So the bottles, we do notice that the champagne bottles, all have 1 star on the label. Again, what that means, no idea. Mm-hmm. And so it's now time for Columbo to go visit Hugh Creighton and let him know that this person, I don't think they've established how close a relationship they had at this point, but Columbo has to go find him and let him know. And of course, Hugh is in the middle of defending his client in court. I like the technique where the prosecutioner is delivering whatever to the jury, his speech. What do you call that? You're a lawyer, so
his closing argument.
His closing arguments to the jury. And of course, Hugh is coughing, starts his cough. He's being overly loud with the pitcher of water. Are these techniques that you use? I'm just curious.
Well, okay, I'm going to tell you what bothered me. Okay, so the prosecution's closing argument was, and this is a murder trial, he's like, this man stabbed his mother, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. And it's terrible. It's terrible, okay?
This is making the point that it was a crime of passion, right?
Yeah, well, he said, this man stabbed his mother 14 times. This is what he should have said. He stabbed his mother 14 times. Now, I want you to think how long it takes to stab someone 14 times.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how long that would take and what was going through his mind the whole time. And I think that Hugh Creighton's coughing, you cough, that's okay. But you can't really object to that, but yeah, that was kind of cute. By the way, if you are ever in a courtroom, don't drink the water that's on the tables.
Oh?
Yeah, so, actually in this case, this is a trial. Presumably it may have been going on for a couple days, so they probably did refill the water that morning. But normally, if you go in a courtroom, maybe once every 2 weeks they'll have a trial that takes a couple days. And so there's no need to refill those bottles of water that they have. But if you pour yourself a glass of water, it might be 2-week-old water, so it would taste awful. I found this out the hard way, and I found it out twice. Not once, but twice.
Not 3 times, not 4.
Yeah.
Well, 14 times.
So this is another thing that bothered me, not realistic at all. In the middle of Hugh's closing argument, the bailiff brings a note from Columbo up to the judge that basically says, his wife has been killed. I need to talk to him. And the judge interrupts his closing argument and says, we'll reconvene tomorrow morning. Okay? That's a big no-no. You shouldn't...
That's what I was going to ask you. Well, no, he's not even his wife, right? So I don't know what the note said. Maybe a very close personal friend of Hugh's died or was murdered, but yeah, they wouldn't have ended the case or had a recess or whatever it's called to interrupt, especially in the closing arguments. It's almost over.
Yes, exactly.
And I wanted to ask you that. Would that be realistic? Was that something that could actually happen? That let's say you're in the middle of a case, you're doing the closing arguments, and a police officer comes in and lets you know, oh, your mother has passed. Would they have interrupted the case, or would they have waited?
They would. Okay, so in my case, if I have a closing argument in the type of law that I practice, my closing argument would last 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. In a murder case, you hear about these really high-profile cases, like the closing argument could last 2 days. But what bothered me was she interrupted him, which is not a good thing for either side. I mean, the prosecution gets to have their closing argument, and then the next day they get to hear the other side's closing argument. They should hear them back to back. Okay, to be fair and balanced.
Yeah, right.
And then another thing that she does is that she says, "Oh, we'll reconvene tomorrow morning." Does that give him enough grieving time? I would give him a week. I don't know. So.
Yeah, I would have thought they would have waited until the end of the case or the court case.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been proper. But
okay, just curious that was a real thing that could really actually happen.
Yeah.
So Columbo, but he does call him Columbus. Hugh and Columbo go into the back room, and he calls him, which I think is a technique to kind of throw Columbo off. Because I really do. I think Hugh is probably one of the more intelligent murderers. I mean, he has to be if he's never lost a murder case. He's a lawyer, so he thinks, I think, a lot of steps ahead. I just feel like he's probably one of the more intelligent murderers that Columbo's run up against, and I think he uses techniques like the coughing, calling Columbo Columbus, all these minor little techniques to kind of throw people off. What are your thoughts?
I agree 100% with that. And I think that he does a remarkable job acting innocent and acting, playing the grieving husband.
Oh yeah.
I know they're not technically married, but and by the way, this is when we get introduced to Sherry Denise, is immediately after the trial scene. She walks in and he says, "Oh, this is," and I can't remember her name in this.
Trish Fairbanks. Oh, this is Trish Fairbanks, my associate. Oh, okay, this person that we haven't heard about that is now going to play a major part in this story. Nice to meet you, Sherry Denise. But there's a scene in the morgue, and I want to tell you, Steve, if you ever go to a morgue, there's no eating and no smoking, because there are no less than 3 signs within a 10 square foot area in that morgue. Big red signs that say no eating, no smoking. And they look at the body, and he touches the body and determines that the neck was broken, yada, 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 yada. Yeah, no skin under the fingernails, no sexual harassment, assault, thank you.
Yeah.
But and then that's when he tells Columbo that I want the autopsy report, and Columbo says, "I'm sorry, I can't do that. That's, it's by regulations. I can't give that to you, especially for a loved one." And that's when I guess Hugh starts pulling some of his contacts, or starts pulling some of his favors in with his contacts within the legal system.
Oh yeah, as you do.
Which I always love when someone does that to Columbo. They're not happy with him. I got to get Columbo off my back. They go to the mayor, they go to the police chief or a friend, and to get Columbo pulled, right?
Or in this case, they go to Barney's Beanery and pull John Finnegan, who was previously working in Barney's Beanery.
Yeah, when did he get a promotion? But they got an 1.5 inch steak, New York steak, at this joint. So he knows his food.
Realistically, if someone does that, Columbo knows they're the murderer. But really, when does Columbo have the proof? When does he know that Creighton is the murderer?
I think it's coming up, by the way. So Hugh goes back to his office. I guess he's working on something. And Trish comes in and she confronts him, saying, ever since you put me on that special, did she say project or special?
Research project or something like that. Research assignment.
Yeah. And at the time I didn't think anything of it, but this is a very important part of the case that comes to fruition later in the episode. But all we know, she's been away doing something special for him. And so she's deduced that he killed not his wife. He killed Marcy. and so she wants a partnership starting tomorrow, and she wants to be married.
Mm-hmm.
So very, she has a lot of plans, I guess.
Okay, so
Do you think that's what she did to Peter Falk?
Say again?
Yeah, I said it. Do you think this is what she did to Peter Falk?
But this is what bothers me, is that we're introduced to this character. 2 minutes later, she's blackmailing the killer.
Mm-hmm.
Were you like me and instantly thought, oh, he's going to kill her? Well, I knew that he didn't kill her because I've seen it before, but...
Usually that does equate to being the next victim.
Yeah. Especially since the next day she's redecorating the office and taking away all his cowboys.
But she did do something smart. She says, if anything ever happens to me, an envelope like the one she just threw on his desk will appear on everybody, all the newspapers, and on Lieutenant Columbo's desk. If I don't... So she sets that up immediately, which was probably the smart thing. Something happens to me, this letter that explains everything is going to go out.
Right.
So she's protected.
Right. And we can't have her die because she's Peter Falk's wife. So we can't have her die. Although she did die, actually, in that undercover episode she was shot. Remember? Which I don't remember very much about that either.
I don't remember it really.
She played the art museum
art
dealer with the gay boss. And yeah.
Wait,
I want to ask you something really quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want to know if you noticed something. So the scene where she confronts Creighton about killing her, was there anything in that scene that gave you a callback to Doctor Who?
No, nothing.
Her outfit, the blouse or the dress that she was wearing,
It looked very uncomfortable. I did think because it had these big beads on the back that it would be very uncomfortable to lean back into a chair with. But beyond that, no, I didn't recognize the shirt or blouse.
Wow, things like that you don't realize until you put the blouse on when you're rehearsing for RuPaul's Drag Race. Anyway, so the pattern on the shirt of ducks, there's like a pattern of 2 or 3 ducks flying, is the same pattern that appears on Tom Baker's lapel in some of the old Doctor Who series.
No, I didn't even notice the ducks. Sorry.
Oh. What fun are you, Steve? Why do you have to ruin fun?
Okay. So Chief Colbert, or John Finnegan, Barney from Barney's Beatery, is now the chief of police. Man, I tell you, Columbo cannot get a break. He's been a lieutenant for how many years? And this guy just came in from the restaurant service industry and totally ran up the ranks of the LA police force. And Columbo,
wait a minute. I would have to look it up, but I think that he appeared in Barney's Beanery after this. So I think that he is an inexperienced policeman who just got a promotion, doesn't believe Columbo, who's been solving murders for 20 plus years, and as a result of him not trusting Columbo, he gets fired later on and has to go and work in Barney's Beanery.
I mean,
I don't know.
I guess
it's a theory. It's a theory. I don't know. And then, of course, he retires from Barney's Beanery and moves into a house across the street from a lady who later murders her husband. Anyway,
yes,
in the glass table. Sorry, we're joking, folks. That's not real.
Barney,
don't email us and tell us that we're wrong, that it's different characters. We're just having fun.
Maybe the guy who owns Barney's Beanery has a twin brother who's the chief of police.
I think he has 2 twin brothers. I think they're triplets.
Triplets.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, the chief tells Columbo to give Hugh whatever he wants in regards to reports about the case, and to meet him at the Darrow Club?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he lets Columbo know, they have the best steaks in town. Order the strip steak. Or New York strip steak. Which, to me, I'd be really looking forward to that meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So he shows up, Dabney, Hugh, is sitting there. It's obviously a really nice-looking restaurant. Columbo sits down, and as you do when you go out to eat with a client, you always kind of see what they're going to order first. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you do this. At least I do it. I always try to see what they're going to order. I try to order something equal or less than.
Yeah.
And so Hugh orders the chicken noodle soup because he's not very hungry. And the expression on Columbo's face. Because he was looking forward to that strip steak, wasn't he? I mean,
I didn't even notice this. That's awesome.
He's like, "You're just gonna have the soup, sir?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm not too hungry today. With the murder, I'm just haven't really have an appetite." But it doesn't take him long because then Columbo says, "I'll have the steak with the potato and a shrimp cocktail appetizer." He's like ordering the most expensive stuff on the menu. And he goes, "Oh, and do you have salad? I'll have a Caesar salad."
Well, he's doing it, of course, because he knows that this lunch is, okayed by the chief of police, so he can expense it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So unlike when he goes to a fancy restaurant, and orders a bowl
chili.
of chili, yeah, for $6.
So this is the scene. This is where I think Columbo begins to suspect Hugh, and the reason is you find out within the medical examination report that she's got that medicine that you were referencing earlier. What was it? Starts with a D, but that's in her system, and that's when Hugh says, "Oh, I have pills like that too. I bet you she accidentally took my pills because she's such a health nut that she actually took my pills." And I think the expression on Columbo's face was like, that's a little coincidental. I think that's when he first suspects Hugh as the killer.
I agree. I think that planted the seed for sure. I agree 100%. And his excuse for the pills, he says, "Oh, Mercy was a real vitamin nut. She probably took one of mine by mistake." Mm-hmm. That's the lamest excuse I've ever heard.
Yeah, I agree.
I would have said, well, maybe she was having a drinking problem herself and didn't want to tell me. Shows she took one of my pills.
Yeah. So, yes, now we're going back to the spot that, or the part of the episode that you enjoy the most. Columbo goes back to the beach house. He notices the raking of the sand along the side.
Yeah. That was sloppy, Hugh. Sloppy. Just saying.
And then he meets the cleaning lady, who, oh my God, what a horrible woman. She's so mean. All cleaning people are mean to Columbo.
Not all of them.
Seems like it. He wasn't even smoking this time. Well, he probably can't at this point anymore, but...
Well... Okay, so I knew that you would be excited about this scene because you texted me a video of the scene from YouTube. And I was looking forward to the scene, but I was completely overwhelmed by his hat.
Yes.
So
I didn't go on.
He shows up, it's raining. He has an umbrella and a baseball cap on it. And the baseball cap says NRI. Okay. Mm-hmm. And was it NRI? I'm sorry, NFI.
NFI.
Okay. And I spent so much time Googling what NRI stands for. Or, I'm sorry, NFI. Jesus. It's just, I'm thinking like NRI. I'm mixing it up with NRA. And so this is what I found. Okay, so there are a couple organizations that have those initials. One is I can't remember if it was Norwegian or Swedish, but probably Norwegian something institute, but that was founded in 1994, and this is before that. And then thanks to the good folks at the Ultimate Lieutenant Columbo site and their forum, somebody asked the very same question. Somebody said, and I hope this is true, he says, my friend's brother, who was a friend of Peter Falk, wore such a cap on the set one day. Peter asked him what NFI stood for, and the brother said, "No fucking idea." And so Falk thought this was hilarious, so he asked for a hat just like it and wore it on the show. So I don't know if
That's funny. No, I can see that being true because, when I was watching this, I was like, what does that mean? It's not like LAPD or what's another acronym that could be for, but NFI. I thought that what is that? No fucking idea.
I could understand FBI, like maybe hit an FBI. Anyway, so go ahead and talk about the maid, the cleaning lady.
Oh no, she was just a complete ass. Just giving him weird looks and this is when Columbo starts to, I don't know, he's really curious about those corks, and he wants to see if there's more corks, and she's really kind of putting up roadblocks for him to kind of do his job, which I thought was really just what a bitchy person. And this is also when he discovers that he goes back into the bedroom and he's looking at the frame albums, and he sees that there's some of that that white, I don't know what you call that white stuff that comes out of sheetrock.
Oh, like the plaster, dust, plaster dust.
I'm surprised the PI did not clean up that. But anyways, so he notices that the air vent has been moved that caused the dust to fall. So I think that's when he suspects someone has planted a camera in here at some point. So then we go on to I guess the PI scene. Is there anything you wanted to cover before we move on?
No. I think that's good. I just want to say that how did he make the jump from finding out that somebody had put something in the air vent to the private investigator's office? How did he get to the private investigator's office?
I don't know. Good question.
And another thing that bugged me, and they did this on purpose, is that they, as you said, they made the private investigator's office so it looks so obnoxiously film noirish. They even opened the scene with an above shot over a ceiling fan.
Yes. I liked it.
You liked it? Mm-hmm. I thought it was just hokey. Because a proper investigator that I could see Hugh Creighton hiring would be somebody like Robert Culp, like from the Brimmer firm. Remember that episode that we covered? Mm-hmm. Death Lends a Hand. I don't see him hiring this schmuck. Anyway, so he sees the camera sitting on the shelf, coincidentally, and he says, are you gonna have to explain to me what this dust is on this camera? There was something missing there. I did not like that at all. And I know that you like for us to keep our comments until later in the episode, but that, of course, leads us to him searching for Nettie, what's his name? Marcy's boyfriend. I cannot remember. Oh, yes. They trace him to some lady's apartment.
Yes. So this is like the action sequence. There's the NBC stunt team has they're obligated to so many stunts a week, and they're like, we're one shy this week. Columbo has a scene. We could probably put it in that. Okay. So let's say this. You're a guy that has questionable history with women, money, the mafia, whatever.
It's not just
you're shaving yourself. You hear the knock at the door. It's the cops. Sure, just 1 second. You go running and you dive through a pane of glass. Did he dive and hit the concrete and then jumped into the pool, or did he? I can't remember. Did he dive literally out of the apartment, through the pane of glass into the pool? Which one was it?
I can't remember. I just remember thinking, wow, that looks like the place where that guy was killed that Dr. Barry Mayfield drugged up. It looks like the same place.
Yes, it is the same place.
And then when he fell in the pool or jumped in the pool, I don't know what, I thought, well, that will take care of the shaving cream on his face, so he's not running around with shaving cream on his face.
I would, because we do these podcasts, I'm totally fascinated by sound effects and TV shows. So, you can tell when, like when Daphne's driving away, in one scene, his car is really too quiet. It's almost like an electric car. There's hardly because they add that later. They add the sound of the car pulling away later, and obviously the sound mix they did it way too quiet. So I pick up on things like that because of this little side projects we do together. But
or what about Columbo's car backfiring?
Yes,
in every 90s episode.
Right. Especially when he's trying to get past 60 miles per hour. But so there's this scene where the guy jumps into the pool.
Oh, it's so
and you
bad.
hear a kid say, "Look, Ma!" I'm thinking, if you were a kid and you saw that shit go south, wouldn't you run in the opposite direction? Look, Ma! Yes! There's a strange man who jumped in the pool.
You know, it's was that Mr. Hanky Poo that just said?
Yeah, it was. I think actually.
So it's not just the stunt department that needed some extra work, but I think the guy that wrote cheesy '90s action music needed some work too. Sure. And he comes back later on to write some other nice music as well. I have a theory that the person who was writing this story. Right before this scene was written, kind of just had a stroke, and then somebody else picked up the pen and continued writing from then on. Because now
that scene that literally happens the very next scene. By the way,
yeah,
I think your suggestion there of changing of writers for having a stroke or whatever happens at this point exactly.
Yeah, because he trails Nettie to a bar called the Aquarium.
Yes. I want to go to the aquarium. This is fascinating to me. I've never seen anything like this. In all my years, I've never seen a bar with a black cutaway to a back room with a woman dressed as a mermaid on string on I don't even know what you call it.
She's like on trapeze strings, pretending, but she's in the basement, so there's a video feed from her to the aquarium.
No, I don't think so. I think it's literally because she looks out and she can see what is on the other side. It's not a camera.
That's right. You're right. I think it's a camera, but the bartender tells him, go down the stairs, watch out, it's dark, don't trip. And you see Columbo go down the stairs into the basement. So she has a video. There's a video feed between her and the aquarium.
So let's explain this to the listeners who are not familiar with this episode. So Columbo goes into a bar, a dive bar, by the way, called the Aquarium.
Dive aquarium.
And so behind the bartender, there's this huge aquarium. In the middle of the aquarium, there seems to be a miniature version of a human, a real-life person pretending to be a mermaid doing acrobats in the middle of the aquarium. I don't quite understand how they do that. You and I will disagree with this, I think. You think it's videotape, whatever, but Columbo is looking for Darlene, I think her name is, because she knows Nettie.
Mm-hmm.
And the bartender's like, "Why? You need to know." Well, I have money for Nettie. I work for Tony No Hairs or whatever.
Tony Few Hairs. Yeah, Johnny
Few Hairs,
something like that.
So the bartender says, "Okay, she's go down the back in the basement. It's dark, just like what you said." So he goes down and he sees her, and she's got her mermaid outfit on. She's on a string harness. And she's doing backflips and all sorts of things to make it look like simulating swimming. But when she looks out to where the camera would be, but it's a glass. She's on the other side of the aquarium.
Yeah, I think she's downstairs. Why is it? How does he go downstairs? How could she be
I don't know.
I
I can't explain that. No, it doesn't make any sense.
I think it's. I don't know. But you know what? There's a moment. This is a moment in Columbo that I personally like to call the pigeon double take. Okay, which is a term that I get from watching James Bond movies, especially in the Roger Moore era, where there was a moment where he's running around in Venice, I think, or somewhere in Italy, and he gets on a hovercraft and he's driving around in it, and there's a pigeon that does a double take. Okay, it's something that has nothing to do with the story and just pulls you out of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the nonsense does not end there. The nonsense does not end there, my friend.
I love the scene. As a matter of fact, the very next action or situation that happens, I think is going to be you in 40 years. So Columbo tells Darlene, I got some money from Tony Nose Hairs. Where can I find Nettie so I can pay him? She tells him. He goes on his way. I want to know what's the point of this scene? It's totally pointless. There's no besides the whole aquarium thing. But as he leaves, Darlene waves at the homeless guy on the other side of the camera, the glass, whatever. And the homeless guy, he's drinking whatever he's drinking. I don't know.
A grasshopper. Somebody orders it may not be him, but somebody orders a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Dive bar.
And he is so happy that the mermaid in the aquarium is waving at him that his mouth opens to reveal I've got more fingers on one hand than he's got teeth. Let's put it that way. But he's happy. He's a happy guy. That he just
and it gets worse. It gets worse. I mean, this all happens in the space of 3 seconds? Mm-hmm. He smiles, this big toothless grin, and then we cut to his point of view, and we show Columbo and Darcy in the aquarium because Columbo's standing right next to her, so they can see. Okay,
he's just happy that the meth has kicked in at this point. He's like, I bought this. It was a poor cut of cocaine. I didn't think I'd get anything out of this, but it finally kicked in. So he was really happy.
So this is obviously a dive bar, but why does a dive bar have something so sophisticated as a lady in a mermaid costume with nobody
Does it really
cares?
bring in that many customers? I mean, I don't know.
This is something that you would see at a resort in Florida or a kid's restaurant in Disney World. This is not something that you would see in a dive bar. And it does nothing to further the plot. Oh my God.
No, nothing.
Because then it doesn't stop there again. It still doesn't stop because then we're treated to a scene. I don't know who Little Richard knew. I don't know if he's a Columbo fan. Did he say to somebody, I'd really like to be in a Columbo episode?
He doesn't talk like that.
Because then they go to a cheesy cocktail lounge and I know it's a cheesy cocktail lounge because there is a big sign in front that says cocktail lounge. Mm-hmm. And he goes in there and there's Little Richard playing. And it's the type of bar that has an O'Doul's sign on the wall, which I don't know what kind of bar puts up an O'Doul's sign. Fun fact, that's non-alcoholic beer. It's,
O'Doul's. I got you.
Yeah, and Little Richard knows Nettie or something.
Whoa! You're jumping ahead. Wait. Let's talk about his performance first.
Oh God!
We have Little Richard on Columbo. So he's singing a song called Boogie Woogie. That was the name I was trying to remember earlier.
Oh, it wasn't Tutti Frutti. It was Boogie Woogie. Okay.
Boogie Woogie. I'm not familiar. Honestly, I'm not overly familiar with Little Richard's repertoire of music. So, I mean, that may have been one of his more popular songs. I don't know. But
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that one. But so he's got Boogie Woogie. And obviously he's entertaining the crowd. Everybody's very excited and happy. They're clapping and cheering. Columbo is really kind of cocking his head back and forth. He's really enjoying the music too. I don't know. I think what happened was Peter Falk and Little Richard were at a party. A Hollywood party somewhere together, and they were introduced. And Peter Falk says, "Little Richard, I love your music. You're one of my all-time favorites." And Little Richard said, "Peter Falk, I love Columbo. I watch it every time it's on." And they're like, I should have you on the next episode. Yeah, I'm gonna shoehorn you in. I think that's what happened.
And no, maybe Peter Falk was like, you know what? I've got a great murderer for you. Little Richard. What do you say? And then the showrunners were like...
It's not like W.C. Fields more than Peter Falk.
No, I know. The showrunners, the producers are like, Pete, that's not really a good idea. We can give him a small part. All right, give him a small part, but you got to put my wife in it.
they gave up on that fight a long time ago.
So they that's true. They go into the back room, the dressing room, and while little Richard is combing his jerry curled hair,
boy.
Yes.
I'm surprised Ned did not pull a knife on Columbo or a gun.
Yeah, he kind of gave up a little bit too deep because just at that moment he walks into the dressing room, and Columbo brings him in for questioning, and that's when we find out what already happened that we saw. Now,
well, okay, yeah, go ahead.
After this, whoever had a stroke came back to continue writing the script that they were making, and we have Columbo explaining to Creighton and the associate played by Cher Denise, who again, Trish
Fairbanks.
She's in like every scene with Creighton from here on in, as if Columbo was explaining it to her as well, which there's a good reason for this, but it doesn't make any sense from Columbo's viewpoint. I don't know.
No. Can we go back just to the Little Richard scene before we walk away from that? So, the scene where Columbo is talking to Nettie, Little Richard, I mean, I don't know who's responsible for the direction of dialogue in this scene, but they really did not do a good job. Because Columbo and Nettie are talking about, we need to talk, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time, Little Richard, you can hear in the background is saying, hey, what's going on? What is that?
Yes.
What is he talking about? I mean, the whole time while there's an actual conversation going on, you can hear Little Richard doing a play-by-play. That's just weird.
And I forgot to mention, before that, after Little Richard is done singing, Columbo walks with him to the back room, and he's like borderline talking jive with him. Well, I hear you met. That's not getting anywhere close to it. I hear you. I can't do it. Not because I'm like not racist, but because of whatever. Oh wait, there's one thing I forgot to mention. I'm sorry. This is going back. The private investigator. Oh my God, this drives me crazy. But first of all, he's such a stereotypical private investigator that he has the Maltese Falcon on his credenza behind him. What? Yes! He's got the fuff.
I didn't notice that. Wow.
Yeah, I know this because I'm watching it while we're talking, and the scene is on right now. And I also forgot to mention that his name, God help us all, his name is Sam Marlowe.
Right.
Which, of course, is an amalgamation of Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe and the movie detective Sam Spade, played by Humphrey Bogart.
Right.
Horrible. That's like a name that I would give somebody.
Oh, it's
character
fun.
In a murder
it's fun.
mystery.
You're blowing it out. No.
Yeah, I know. This fucking bugs the hell out of me. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, these extra bits with Little Richard and the thrilling escape scene in the hotel or whatever, these were scenes that could have been cut and replaced with Hugh Creighton killing Cher Denise.
Okay, yes, that would have been better, but we're reviewing what we have. So okay, so Sergeant Hubach, the redhead, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
We find out later. Sorry, we start over. Columbo is at the office. I swear to God, his office gets worse throughout the episode. Now he's delegated to a desk in a room full of desks. Before he had his own office. I don't know. Who's fucking Columbo over? He never gets a promotion. They keep moving him to. It's kind of like the guy from Office Space with the red stapler. They end up moving him down into the basement. I mean, Are they paying Columbo at this point? So poor Columbo, he's eating his peanut butter and raisin sandwich.
It's not even a sandwich. There's one piece of bread.
That's all he can afford that week. What have you ever had a peanut butter and raisin sandwich?
No, it doesn't sound as bad as a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Oh, I love those.
No. Oh, you really?
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I'd rather have a peanut butter and chocolate sandwich, but I don't think raisins belong in anything. I think raisins, they're healthy, full of iron. But raisins should be eaten alone. They don't belong in cookies. They don't belong in cakes.
Oh, I love oatmeal raisin cookies. Oh,
really? Oh, you're the one. Oh, gross.
I'm the one. So, anyways, Columbo is eating his peanut butter and raisin half sandwich, and we find out that the sergeant found who the gardener is, and has the details. The Japanese gardener. That was the only thing she was working off of. Somebody who works in the neighborhood, and he's Japanese. No help whatsoever. But anyway, she finds him.
Yeah, and we're not from L.A., so we don't know. But apparently, of course, there's a lot of gardeners and housekeepers who are Asian. I don't know if we pointed.
Well, that'd be like going to Texas and say, well, it's a lawnmower service run by a Hispanic guy. Like that would be okay. Nothing.
So then he meets the gardener.
Yes, I love this scene. You hate it. You're sighing already.
Okay, no, it's not the scene. Okay, tell us about the scene, Steve. There is something in this that I feel like
this is Mr. Miyagi reincarnate, because he's got the old car, the old truck, like Mr. Miyagi did in The Karate Kid. Because remember, he liked the old, cars from the 50s.
Oh no! Steve, I've never seen The Karate Kid.
What?
I know. Usually you're the one that hasn't. I've never seen The Karate Kid.
God. Okay.
I know.
Okay. Well, I'm moving onward. I'm not going. You're not tripping me up here. So he goes to this guy, and this poor gardener who doesn't speak English very well. Obviously, he probably doesn't. Columbo probably makes a lot more money than he does. So if Columbo's eating peanut butter and raisin sandwiches, this guy's eating grease. He's eating grass cuttings on bread. That's kind of money he makes. He's not doing very well. Look at the vehicle he's driving. I mean, I guess that's what he and Columbo have in common. They both have these old relics for cars, which I want to get to Columbo's comment later about his car, which really bothered me. But
okay.
So he starts talking to the guy. Are you the gardener for Mrs. Creighton? And the whole back and forth with the choppy English, and we find out that the truck had gone missing, or didn't go missing. I'm sorry, it was moved without his knowledge, and so that bothered him. So he wanted to get fingerprints, and that was another explanation. I don't know. It was kind of a humorous kind of back and forth.
Okay, you're right. It was a little humorous. It's a Columbo
But we find about the berry. Yeah. We find about the berries or the nuts or whatever the thing it is. But.
Yeah, occasionally Columbo's interaction with a foreigner. That's horrible. I say foreigner. Is that a bad term? Columbo's
Racist.
interaction with a person who doesn't speak English is, that happens every once in a while. And of course, it's highlighted when he actually goes to a country where people don't speak English and he's the only one. But this is what bothered me. It wasn't the scene itself. It was kind of cute. I think you're going to touch on it a little bit. You said about a comment about the car.
Mm-hmm.
He immediately says, "Oh, I need to get the fingerprints in your car. No warrant, no procedure. It's just get out of my way. I'm gonna take fingerprints of your car." Now, okay, that's fine so far. But at the end of the scene, as the gardener's sort of nodding and smiling because he doesn't know what the fuck Columbo is saying, they play Asian music with a gong.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
What do you mean there's nothing wrong with that?
Of course there's something wrong with that. So I'm looking him up, the actor who played the gardener. His name is Tad Horino.
Okay. Still alive?
So he he died in October 2002, age 81. So nice happy life. He was in such films as Kung Pao. I never saw it. He was in Bill and Ted's the sequel, Bill and Ted. He was in Mulholland Drive.
Oh wow.
He was in Red Sonja.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, that was kind of like a Conan sequel kind of thing. He was in Surf Ninjas.
Okay,
The
of course.
Oscar-nominated Surf Ninjas. He was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 as the grandfather.
Oh, that's where I know him from.
He was Splinter. No, I don't know if he was Splinter. But, what else was he in? He was in. Oh, we were talking about Tom Hanks earlier. He starred in a movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh, which one?
Bachelor Party.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So he was delegated to it's dedicated to comedy. He was in a George Burns film. Oh God, You Devil. Oh my God.
Oh, I remember when that came out. Oh wow. Do you remember that movie?
Vaguely. Oh, he was in the Wonder Woman TV series.
Oh yeah.
He was in the Kentucky Fried Chicken movie. Interesting.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yes. Oh, he was the bartender in the MASH TV show.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. What else? And I Spy with Bill Cosby.
Oh, okay. We'll cover that when we do our Bill Cosby podcast after we're done with Columbo.
So this guy had actually a really good career. I mean, he did movies and TV and lived to the ripe age of 81. So here's to Ted. I'm raising my glass.
Yeah.
Or my
cheers,
can of
Ted.
beer.
Cheers, Ted. You're the new Fernando. Yeah, Margaret Cho has this joke when she's talking about the TV show that she had in the 80s and the 90s. She goes, before me there weren't any Asians on TV except for in MASH. Background. Which is,
I don't like her, but that's funny.
Oh my God, you don't like Margaret Cho?
Oh, I don't think she's funny.
Clutching the pearls.
Yeah.
It's a gay thing.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, is it? That's nice.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a Kathleen Madigan fan though. I'm
so
sorry.
back to Columbo.
Yeah, back
the
to
next
this
scene.
wonderful
Okay,
episode
so
of
once Columbo has figured out this truck has been moved, there's these berries in the back, which I think they're pulling from a bag of berries because there's too much for a random couple of berries to drop. Whatever.
I'm just laughing because of what you just said. I think they're pulling it from a bag of berries.
A bag of berries. So Columbo now goes back, and I think he's figured out what happened and how it happened. So he goes back to Hugh Creighton's law office with a paper bag. Now,
oh, that's right. Yes.
Now, I looked at the running time. I watch these DVDs on a PlayStation 4.
Uh-huh.
And so if you hit the triangle button, it'll give you the running time, and it'll show you the end time, so you can see where you are, how much time you have left. I had another hour. I was thrown for a complete loop because Columbo has a paper bag full of evidence. This should be wrapping up in the next 5 minutes. No. So
no. Yeah. Well, wasn't an hour. It was more like.
Well.
Yeah. It was not the end though. Yeah, but it felt like it should be the end, didn't it? Like, this is it. This is going to be the end. Oh, shit, it's not the end. But then we get... Oh,
yeah, well,
God.
this is when he tells, by the way, this is when he tells Sharon Denise and Dabney Coleman that this is what he suspects. He now knows the 2 stars represents a higher, more expensive champagne, a higher price level champagne. Than the 1 star. He keeps 2-star champagne in his office. And I think you are the killer.
This is literally the only confrontational scene he has with the murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Other than maybe the scene where they're in the fancy restaurant. But I love how the scene ends. Creighton says, Columbo, why don't you take your corks, and get the hell out of my office. And then we get a really quick shot of Peter Falk going, oh, and then cut to him getting scolded by the chief of police, followed by yet another 5 minutes of irrelevant banter between Creighton and I guess it's the district attorney.
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
So apparently, so Creighton knows everybody.
Yeah.
He knows the chief, their old buddies. It was told earlier. Yeah, I have a feeling he knows the DA, which seems odd for somebody who would be fighting against DAs their whole career. They wouldn't be the best of friends.
No, they if you have a professional like friendship with the other side sometimes. I mean, that's normal, especially over an extended period of time. Do you ever watch Night Court and remember John Larroquette and what was her name?
He would have been a great murderer. Oh my God.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. John Larroquette. Oh, so fucking smug. Yes. Oh wow. What was that lady's name though that was on Night Court? Because they were always against each other in court, but they were actually friends.
Well, there were two of them.
There were two ladies that were.
Yeah, there were two ladies. Yeah, the first couple of seasons, and then, I don't remember. But
I haven't seen that in years. R.I.P. Harry Anderson though. That was really sad.
Oh yes, he died. Was it this year?
It was on the Emmys, so it must have. Yeah, I think it was this year.
Yeah.
That was kind of a shock, and nobody had heard of him for a long time, and in a way he could have made a good Columbo murderer too. He would have been one of those nice murderers, like it
was a magician,
Ruth Gordon. Yeah, the magician. It's right. Well, he's not a nice murderer, but that's Jack Cassidy. But
Jack Cassidy, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Anybody would have been better than Cher Denise. I'm sorry.
So yeah, they're in the DA's office, and Hugh Creighton is basically saying, and this guy here, speaking of Columbo, he spent $175 of the taxpayers' money to buy a bottle of champagne to prove this whole silly Cork thing, and he's really kind of just going at it. And I don't know who the guy in the cowboy hat is. Is that his lawyer? Like, I don't understand that.
I don't know, but he's got a cowboy hat, and he's got like a jacket that's slung on the back of his chair when he's a bolo tie. I guess that must be his lawyer. I don't know. Fuck.
Do lawyers have lawyers?
Yes, they do. Yeah, definitely. And
I never really thought about it.
There's an Asian guy hanging out in the background. I don't know what's going on in this scene. Is this a scene from a David Lynch movie?
Could be. The DA is like, obviously the chief is just embarrassed. He's sitting in the back, shaking his head. The DA, I think, has a little more trust in Columbo. I think he knows Columbo. Like, this guy has brought so much. I trust in what he's doing. He's brought a lot of justice to these courts. So he's kind of like leaning on Columbo. He's not dismissing him by making fun of the Cork thing and so forth. So he's basically saying to you, like, well, what's your alibi? Is there a phone record? Is there, did anybody see you in this area? And he says, like, no, I don't have any of that. And the guy goes, well, you don't have an alibi. So, and that's when Hugh gets angry. He goes, okay, well, I'll see you in court, buddy. That's how it is. And that's when Sarah Denise comes up with the speeding ticket, which we've now pieced together. That was the special project that she was working on, a research she was working on earlier, that was earlier mentioned, which, we'll just cut to the chase.
Wait, there is something that she says. Okay, it's his speeding ticket, but she says that she just got it in the mail this morning.
Right.
I don't know. I don't understand how that works. She opens his mail. Oh wait. Although, to be honest, though, she is living with him. I think at this point, because in the final scene, she's at his house. God, I wanted him to kill her so bad. Why couldn't he have killed her, Steve?
I don't know. So
it would have been so much better.
So yeah, there's a speeding ticket. It's one of those newfangled. Columbo does not handle new technology very well. So newfangled thing where it takes a photo of you speeding. So in the speeding ticket, there's an actual digital printout of Hugh Creighton driving his Mercedes convertible.
Yeah.
And his face is on the speeding ticket, and you see him, and that places him in Pasadena at the time the murder was taking place, and at the other side of Los Angeles. I don't know.
We don't live in.
They live there. So.
Yeah.
So that's his alibi, and they start laughing, and Columbo figure that one out, and Columbo's trying to figure. He's like, I don't know.
But it's okay because he figures it out in the next 10 minutes. But a rewind. This is actually foreshadowed earlier in probably my favorite scene that I think is really funny is when Columbo's talking to Creighton, and Creighton's like, "Oh, get in my car. I'm late for something." And he's driving like a fucking maniac and freaking Columbo out. I thought that was pretty funny. But so we spend another 10 minutes. Oh, my God. First, Columbo goes to, like, the DMV.
Yes.
Then he goes and talks to some guy in a lab coat with a computer to look at the pictures there.
There's no way. I'm sorry, Sean. There's no way that those tickets are paying for that system. I mean, there's just too much going on. They have film reels. They have. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
I bet that system costs more to operate than it takes in money.
Yeah. But they have them still, don't they?
Yeah, now today it's cheap technology now, but back then, 91, I don't know. Well, it was LA, so maybe everybody in LA is a crazy nut on the road.
Yeah, so he meets up with Jewish M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes.
Who and there's a scene where Columbo puts on a hat and he goes through the speeds through the red light, and we're treated to another. The soundtrack guy comes back to put in a very cheesy 1990s score to this scene. And you know what? I wonder, they really...
what?
Anyway, so I just... No,
well, what did you think when they were... Okay, so Columbo wanted to see photos. And so this poor guy... Now, to print a photo, this is not today's standards. This is 1991. This is taking a 35 millimeter or whatever that was, going into a dark room, getting the paper, doing... That probably took half a day.
Yes!
Him being there. That probably took half a day to do what he was wanted that one guy to do.
He says, could you print up another picture of just a close-up of the head? It's big head?
It's like another 30 minutes of my time. All right. But
it's the Paul Galesko. Definitely, he didn't go to the Paul Galesko School of Photography. Anyway, I'm sorry,
wow.
Put in a Paul Galesko reference there. We haven't even talked about that episode yet.
We haven't? That's not my first episode.
No, I know, but it hasn't come up on the swinging wheel of the 70s yet.
One of my favorites. Okay, so Columbo now he wants to test the system, and he gets in his old car, and he says something, and I've got a problem with it. I want you to explain it away to me so I don't have an issue. So he tells the lab coat technician for the LAPD camera speeding tickets, whatever. He takes the top down, and he tells him, "This is the first time I've ever taken the top down." Holy cow, Peter Falk! I know you know this. I know he knows this. That's not a true statement.
Now I'm trying to think back to when he took the top down.
I know he went through a drive-through once with the top down.
That's right. Yes.
The time in Enioport and Storm, was it Enioport where he gets that kid to drive the car around that circle?
I don't.
No, not Enioport. No, that's not Enioport. It was the Commodore's Last Salute.
That's right. Yes.
That one. That's what I was thinking of. So yeah. Yes. So when he gets that kid to drive the car, remember the top's down. So there are scenes where the top is down. I've got a problem with that line. That really bugged me.
Yeah, as Doctor Who fans, stuff like this, errors in continuity comes crashing through, and the nerds in us say that's not true. This should be edited, blah, 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 blah. But I don't really think that people cared much about that kind of stuff. Making Columbo,
probably not.
But you're right, yeah. Wow.
That was not the first time. Exaggerated in my speech.
And so now we're treated to the final scene that has a huge info dump. 2 vital clues. Okay, we've got all these pictures of the people that got speeding tickets at the same time that Creighton did, as well as the picture of Creighton. Now, for this podcast, this was the second time you were watching this. The first time you watched this, did you think immediately that was a mask?
No. And it's funny. So rewind 5 minutes back to at the lab, or the photo center, whatever. I knew what Columbo was looking for when he was when he had the blow ups of those 6 people, like the 2 before and the 2 after, whatever. So I knew what he was looking for, but I still didn't see it. Like it just, I'm like a shadow under the nose.
Right.
It's such a minute, and I mean very minute detail. I thought the photo of Hugh looked perfect. I would have not thought any other way. The only thing brings my concern is that obviously we learn that Denise, I'm sorry, whatever her name is,
Sheridanese.
Yeah.
I don't remember
what character was her character's name? Trish. What bothers me is that if she were to have wore that thing going down the interstate off L.A., exceeding speed limits of 60 miles per hour, she would have been completely blind.
Thank you. Yes. And I'm also trying to. And you know what? And his eyes are pretty. There's just little tiny pinpricks. His eyes are pretty seeable in that picture.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest though. I mean, I do see the difference in the pictures. His picture looks very. There's
clean.
No shadows anywhere. It's clean. Yeah. And watching it now, I'm like, oh, it's so obvious. It's a mask. But I know that. But I'm also trying to think, you're right about her not being able to see wearing that. But the conversation in which he told her, Trish, I'd like you to wear this mask of me and drive 60 miles.
Yeah, her piecing together that he was the murderer really was not a far stretch. I mean, really. I mean, you would think, like, wow, she deduced that from, because she had to do a special assignment? What could that have been? She is so smart. No,
and she didn't.
I want you to wear a mask of my face going down an interstate in Pasadena. Make sure you exceed the speed limit of 60.
That's terrible. She didn't say to him, Hugh, why do you want me to do this exactly? What case does this have to do with?
You promised me partnership in a year. I've been here for 3 years. And you want me to do this? Really?
You can't get the paralegal to do this. You can't get the mail boy to do this. I've got to work with a client. Yeah, this is just, yeah.
Of course she figured it out. I mean, a fucking chimpanzee could put that together. Jeez.
And the Columbo then reveals, he shows up at their house. Now it's their house because they're, quote unquote married, just like he was with Mindy or Mandy or whatever her name is.
She would not have. No, honestly, believe they would not have made it to the wedding day. I think she would have been dead. So go on.
Well, but except for the fact that she had that envelope, with
I think he would have figured it out. It would have given him time. It would have given him time to work that out, how to counter it. Maybe figure out who she gave that to or whoever. Like, I don't think that would have ever eventually have happened. Them getting married.
So he brings Hugh outside, and to show Hugh exactly how Sheridanese did it, he shines a flashlight into his own car, and in the creepiest moment of Columbo history, we see Cutie Sergeant Redhead, well, we don't know it's her, with a mask like Columbo with the cap on behind the wheel of his car. And it's just creepy. It's kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre-ish. But she can't see. We know that because he has to help her out of the car. Let alone, she's not driving. Oh, God.
So wait a minute. She's acting the whole time, not knowing when she's being put on, so to speak. So I guess the flashlight, maybe she sees the light. How does she know to shake her head back and forth? And
I don't know. I don't know a lot of things that happened in this. I don't know how she got in the car, because we see him, because there's plenty of time to burn in this episode. We see him parking the car in front of the mansion, because they had to pad this as much as possible. She's not in the car with him. Maybe she was right behind him.
Wow.
And then he explains about the berries and how he got a search warrant to search for the berries or the nuts or the raisin bran that's in the window well and the windshield wiper well of his car, and they're the same ones that were
right. So the only place in California that you'll get those is on that street.
Yeah, was it California or that?
Yeah, maybe
neighborhood now?
that's true. If we're from LA, we would know that. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so and the funny thing is, Columbo has to read Hugh his rights, which funny because at one point when Hugh has set up this drummer Nettie to be the killer, he's like, make sure you read him his rights, you don't mess it up because I want a conviction. And so Columbo is like, yes, sir, we're going to do what we can. We're not gonna mess this one up.
Right.
So at the end of this, he's reading Hugh his rights. He pulls out a card like he's never heard or seen it before and starts reading it off a card. And he's like, you have the right to remain silent, blah, blah, blah. It says, and he goes, and you have the right to, what the hell is that? And he can't see it. End of scene. Boom.
Yeah, boom. End of the movie. And of course, the joke here is that Hugh Creighton is a defense attorney, a criminal defense attorney, and he knows all this shit anyway. But wait, it's not over yet. We're treated to closing credits of Columbo driving in his car.
A very 80s ending.
Listening to the song "Make Love to Me, Baby, One More Time" with a box from Doty's Discount Store, 40% off.
Yep. Cher Denise singing away. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
God.
my question to you, Sean. Did Hugh get off?
Oh my God, yeah, he is. So
absolutely. He did not serve a day in jail. He paid probably a fine because we already know he pays off those judges, right?
Yeah.
He's scot free, man. He did not.
I think though that he has a problem with Cher Denise. I think that she would, because you can't get past the fact that he asked her to drive with the mask on.
Yeah.
Okay, so but maybe he could make something up about that. But yeah, he's getting off.
Absolutely.
He was very wisely kept his mouth shut, by the way, at the end. He doesn't utter a peep when Columbo's revealing the final clue about the nutberries. All right.
So, you ready to review?
Four more 90s episodes, Steve. Four
Awesome.
more 90s episodes. Okay, yeah, let's review it. You can go first. I can't remember who went first, but you can go
I don't
first.
remember. So, any clue where I'm going to pull this number from?
Oh, I forgot about that. No. I wasn't paying attention this time.
Wow. There's a lot of numbers in here.
Okay.
A lot of numbers. We got how much over budget for the building. What else did we get? We got... I can't think of them all. But there are a lot of numbers spouted in this episode. So, you're not going to guess, I'm assuming?
I didn't write them. I'm going to say 321. 321.
Why 321?
That's his license plate.
That's
why
good.
do I spend so much time looking at license plates on these things?
Okay.
Oh, no, I know what the number is.
Okay.
I know what the number is.
What
It's
is it?
14. It's 14.
Why 14?
Because that's the number of times his client stabbed his mother.
Oh, yes. No, that's not it, but that's a good one. So, I'm going to rate this out of $179.40.
Oh, the cost of a champagne bottle.
No.
What is that?
So, if we take the list price of the boombox at Doty's Discount, which is $2.99 list, and we apply a 40% discount, which is $119.60. That's 40% off $2.99. We subtract that from the list price. We get a retail price of $179.40 and today's review score. So Columbo paid $179.40 for his boombox for his nephew.
For his nephew, but he'll open it up beforehand and listen to it because that's what you do when you buy a gift for somebody. He probably didn't really have a nephew who wanted it.
It was for him?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
He really liked Sarah Denise's music. Okay, so what would you rate this? 179.
No, you go
4.
first. You go first.
Okay.
I insist.
Oh, okay. I honestly don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know.
I think Dabney Coleman was amazing. I think he was a great murderer. Every scene he was in, great. There are some interesting bits, humorous bits with the cleaning lady, with the gardener, I like the sergeant that helped him. I thought it was fascinating, but I thought it was a fascinating story. But there did seem to be a lot of things that felt tacked on at the end.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. Shara Denise felt like one of those things.
Yeah.
The scene where the ticket, that came in very late in the episode. That felt tacked on. The Little Richard, I enjoyed Little Richard, but again, that felt tacked on. It was... like you said, did someone have a stroke and someone took over midway? Was there a change in writers? Because that's what it felt like. It was very disjointed. So, out of 179.4, this is a hard one. I've seen it twice. I would probably rate this 105.
Oh my God.
105.2, and really the majority of points taken off was because of Sarah Denise.
Man, oh man.
I would say the main reason that we lost was 174.2. I'm sorry, 74.2 points was because of Sarah Denise only. So
Okay, all right. Well, all right.
I did not enjoy her. I don't mind. She's a good actress. From what I've seen, there are episodes where she's much better, but she's in it too much. She's in this show too much. I don't think one or two would have been bad, but she's highlighted way too much. Like we talked earlier about the nepotism, it really bothered me, and it really bothered my enjoyment of this episode. And also, it's a later Columbo episode. I don't like these later Columbos. As I mentioned previously on this podcast, is that Peter Falk is playing a caricature of Columbo, not playing Columbo. So that's why I rate it as I have.
Well, you know what? Let me ask you this though. The last three that we've watched, this one, A Trace of Murder, where Cher Denise and that other guy whose name I can't remember play a murderer, and Rest in Peace, Mrs. Columbo. Do you think that this was better? I know you think you think this was better than Rest in Peace, Mrs. Columbo.
Yes, but I like the one with the guy with the lab technician guy.
Yeah, A Trace of Murder.
I like that one better. That's my favorite. Actually, that's my favorite Sarah Denise episode. Okay. That one.
I personally, my favorite Cher Denise episode is the one where she gets killed. That would be Undercover. No, I have no. I'd have to sit down. No, that's not.
She was good. She was good in A Trace of Murder. I thought that was a good episode. It didn't bother me so much because, well, one, we also had who was the guy that was the husband?
Barry Corbin.
Yeah, I mean he was amazing.
Yeah, he was great in that. I liked him in that.
But yeah, I really think that the only positive, if we talk about the murderers, is Dabney. Dabney. He's really good in this. And he's fun to watch. So. All
right, so I'm going to agree with you on pretty much everything that you said. I don't agree with you on the number. I think you're being extremely generous. This is probably. I don't really.
I thought you were going to say I was too high. Oh wow.
No. No, you were too high.
I mean too low. I was too low. I'm sorry.
I think that this is a complete piece of shit.
Oh wow.
I hate this, and I never realized I hated this until I watched it for this. Mm-hmm. There are times, as we discussed, that I think, is this over yet? What is the point?
Oh, it should have ended. It should have ended 30 minutes sooner.
Yeah, it was, and it's sad because Dabney Coleman makes a pretty damn good Columbo murderer.
Yes. The only highlight.
Yeah, they don't have
And Mr. Miyagi, those are the only two reasons.
I'm giving this $21.03.
Holy
I just think this is
mother of mercy.
Yeah, I think this is the bottom 5 for me, maybe bottom 3. It was just a waste of time. It was a mess, and it was the writing. It wasn't the acting, with the exception maybe of Cher Denise. I don't know if they were trying to, play to our expectations by not having him kill her, which would have made it much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm serious. I'm not saying that jokingly because, like, I don't like her acting in it. I mean, I seriously think that he should have killed her. And they should have left out that bit about her leaving evidence behind with the envelope.
So you took, out of $179.40, you took $158.37 away because of Cher Denise.
Yeah. No, not because of her, but because of the padding.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they could have taken that padding out with the little Richard and the scene in the hotel or the apartment, the action scene of jumping through the glass pane, the part where he visits with the photo technician and learns about the camera.
Yes.
All of that could have been taken out and replaced with
killing Cher Denise.
Killing Cher Denise and any clues that would have resulted from that.
So why don't you like Cher Denise? I said my reason.
Wait. I'm not. It's not because I don't like Cher Denise and I wanted him to kill. That's not why I wanted him to kill her. I think it would have been better for the story if she. I mean, she could have been played by Meryl Streep. It doesn't matter. She could have been the best actress ever. It still would have been a better story if he killed her. If this was a double murder. Columbo spends one scene in this whole thing talking to Dabney Coleman about why he thinks the murderer is him, and doing the Columbo shtick where I found this clue and kind of inferring that it applies to him, and that lasts like 3 minutes, and then it's over, and then the next thing we know, we're talking to the DA about how Columbo thinks it's him. There should have been more of Columbo and Dabney Coleman at odds with each other, and there wasn't.
Yeah.
There should have. We had the scene in the fancy restaurant, but they weren't really at odds with each other.
No, they even had an argument, and Columbo said, "Okay, we're not gonna, let's just drop it. We're not gonna agree on this." So
yeah, there was none of that. Like the murderer knows that Columbo knows that he's the murderer, and they're now playing that cat and mouse, spy versus spy, whatever you want to call it, game. There's none of that in this. And what you have left is a shitty clue about nuts and berries or whatever with the gardener and this ridiculous alibi that doesn't make any sense.
Well, and I really hate the fact that the thing with the top, the convertible top being down for the first time, that bugged me more than Cher.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the story in any way.
No, it doesn't. I mean, but why say it? Why say that?
I don't.
And then surely Peter Falk will remember driving that car around. In a couple episodes with the top down. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, not my favorite. I don't know where I would place it in the grand scheme of all Columbo episodes because I haven't seen them all, but definitely not my favorite. After listening to you, I want to rate it lower, but whatever. So speaking of rating it, have we got any feedback?
We do. We have some emails to read.
Oh.
We have. I want to say Bruno F. actually sent us 2 emails. He says this is a pretty. Oh wait, no. He sent me a link to the. I'm going to cut this. He sent me a link to a car, a Columbo model car. Yeah, he sent me. So Bruno wrote us. He also sent me a link to. I think what looks like. I think it's supposed to be a limited edition model of Columbo's car, but the link doesn't work anymore. I'm sorry, Bruno. But he did write. Hey guys, I'm not sure if this was addressed or not. I'm a bit behind on listening, but I just finished this episode, and Sean mentioned that that's Faye Dunaway, should have been nominated for an award, and she was for an Emmy, for which she won, and a Golden Globe, which she lost. Peter Falk was also nominated for his performance in both shows, but sadly didn't win. He did win one Emmy for the revival series, though, back in 1990 for Agenda for Murder. That was a really good 90s episode. Mm-hmm. Anyway, love the podcast. I hope you liked my previous email about the DVD set. Oh, it was a DVD set. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, we got one from Sean. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm enjoying your Columbo podcast. Is it me, or does everyone drink the hard stuff all day, every day in the 70s? Yeah, really. Okay, but you know what? We didn't mention, by the way, regarding Columbo and the murder of a rock star? Ugh. His incessant smoking.
Oh, yeah.
It almost made me think that Dabney Coleman, is addicted to cigarettes, but the fact that he's now 86 years old and alive and well, I kind of doubt it. Anyway, Sean says, have you done the magic show one? We have not. Can't remember what it's called, and also, what's the name of the one where the guy gets killed in the swimming pool with ice? Okay.
Oh, so yes, we did that one.
Okay, so the magic show one is with Jack Cassidy, and it's called Now You See Him. We have not gotten to that one yet. The one with the guy getting killed in the swimming pool with ice is the one called The Most Crucial Game, which, incidentally, is the one where Robert Culp dresses up as an ice cream man and kills Dean Stockwell in the swimming pool. And what are Dean Stockwell's final words in that episode? Or is the final words before he's clocked by Robert Culp? Do you remember?
Is it you, or why are you here? Or I don't know. I don't remember.
What are you doing dressed as a... And then, boom, dead. Just like you were saying, her last word should have been, what are you dressed like a gardener for?
Yeah. Why would he have put... Never mind. Okay, yeah.
Okay, then we got one the other day.
He did ask for the Tutti Frutti, so, you know.
Yeah. This is... I'm sorry. It's either Jamie or Jaime. I'm sorry. I don't know. He says, just discovered your podcast. Really enjoy it. I'm 58, skewing your demographic, and grew up watching the show with my dad. I own every episode on DVD and several books about the series. And Columbo's first name is Frank, goddammit. I don't care what Levinson and Link say. The name is clearly visible in multiple episodes. He's right. We haven't talked about it a lot. Yeah, it's now in the age of DVDs where we can freeze it and, zoom in and all that. If Mrs. Melville was in a book called Prescription Murder, then Columbo's first name is Frank. That's a reference to Murder by the Book, in which one of the books that they wrote is called Prescription Murder. He says, thanks again for the podcast. Looking forward to listening to them all. Well, thank you. You're all very sweet. We love you all. And this is the longest podcast I think we've had so far.
Yeah. It was a fun one, too.
Yeah, because it was so bad. It was fun to talk about.
It was Cher Denise. I mean, that's all because of her. The patron saint of the 90 Columbos. So.
Patron saint of something. So, Steve, it is time, thank God, to swing the swinging wheel of the 70s. And we're going to find out what we're going to cover in Season 9 of the Columbo Confab podcast.
Oh, at least we go back to the classics. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Oh, what's going on?
I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Well, okay, there's something wrong with the wheel. It shows us an episode, but it's sort of technically not a Columbo episode.
I swear to God, if this is Mrs. Columbo, I'm going to hate you.
It's Mrs. Columbo, Steve.
No, you're kidding. No.
It's a riddle for puppets.
No.
That we'll be talking about.
Are you
Steve,
serious?
You haven't seen a single episode of Mrs. Columbo. I think it's
I watched the first 20 minutes of the pilot, but it was so bad.
It's okay, Steve. We're going to have a good time.
No, why? No, this is not in the agreement that I signed with you, so no.
I know that you have it on DVD. It is available for viewing.
What's it called again?
A Riddle for Puppets.
It sounds horrible. Is Kermit the Frog in this?
I don't know. I don't remember watching it.
Why? Why are we watching this? Seriously?
I just roll with it, Steve. It's okay. We'll have plenty of fun times.
Can I? If they're puppets, can I do my Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy impersonations?
Yes, you feel free to do your Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy impersonation. All right, everybody.
Why
So we're going to go away for a little while. It might be a month and a half. But join us again for season 9.
Is Sarah Denise in this?
No, she's not in it. Season 9 of the Columbo Confab podcast, where we begin with a riddle for puppets. Bye, everybody.
Not
Say
happy.
goodbyes. Say goodbye.
Not
to
happy.
Steve.
Not happy.
Thank you for listening to the Columbo Confab podcast. To email us with a comment or question, write to columboconfab@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @columboconfab, and look for us on Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us some happy reviews on iTunes.
I love clues.
Hello, I'm Sean, and I'm the host of the 1001 Movies podcast, based on the book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. Each episode, I randomly pick a film from the book and spend about 10 minutes talking about its director, the cast, the genre, and my personal thoughts on the merits of the film. Each delicious yet bite-sized episode contains information about a film from practically any genre, any country, or any year. Check us out on iTunes and we'll send you free cookies. Some restrictions apply.